For both precincts 2 and precincts 4. I think we have enough seats for all 4 candidates. And just because you're right next to me, we'll start right here. And so you have 2 minutes. Everybody just remember the format. 2 minutes to do an opening statement.
Hi y'all, I'm Angie Younger, and I promise that I didn't wake up one day and thought to myself, you know what would be fun? Running for county commissioner. I'm running because my kids were raised here, and my kids will be continued to raise here. And I have cedar allergies, but that's okay. So for over a decade, I've been in my community, helping neighbors. I've been supporting Democratic candidates and at times helping Democratic candidates get elected. I've created bipartisan groups. I've created Democratic clubs. Always thinking about helping your neighbor. Always boots on the ground. For years, I had friends and neighbors say, Angie, you should run. And I'd say, absolutely not. I'm not a politician. And that they'd say, that's why we need you. We need more bold, empathetic, good-hearted leaders like yourself already doing the work. And it means showing up where decisions are being made. So, as your commissioner, my focus is clear. Water. We must plan responsibly. We must include conservation, rainwater harvesting, incentivizing that, putting that in our schools, municipal buildings, and homes. Roads, we must strengthen. We must strengthen our roads. And we must pursue state, federal funding, and other tools for that. And affordability. We must think of our senior citizens, teachers, law enforcement. I'm Angie Younger, and I'd be honored to have your vote and your support this primary so we can go and beat them in the general. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, 2 minutes.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm Lori Brown, and I am running also for Hays County Commissioner Precinct 4. I am a proud resident of Buda, Texas. I shop here, my dentist is here, my hair salon is here. And I work in San Marcos, so Hays County is important to me. I think that having KBAD support would mean everything in this race. And I think you have a right to ask why I am prepared to be the commissioner. And in one word, that word is experience. For more than 40 years, I have worked in banking, in real estate, and in higher education. My degree is in accounting. I have a bachelor's and a master's in accounting from Texas State, and I'm proud of that. Currently, I'm teaching accounting at Texas State. And I want you to know that my focus for commissioner will be to solely focus on the commissioner's job. I'm not going to have any other outside job. I'm retiring from Texas State in December of 2026. So one of the things as an accounting nerd I like to do is look at the budget. And I think the budget tells us everything about what county sets as priorities and its values. And I want to bring democratic values back to Precinct 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Escobar, 2 minutes.
Hello, I'm Brian Escobar, running for County Commissioner, Precinct 2. I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather. My grandchildren go to elementary in Precinct 2. But what I'm not is a politician. I am an IRS tax expert. I've been through budgets, I've been through audits, I've done everything that you can imagine in the financial world. That's why I'm running for a county commissioner. I have experience with contracts, and I've really outdone it all. And like others have said, experience really does matter in this role. It's very important that we start electing people that have true experience. Thank you.
Mr. Flores, 2 minutes.
For those I don't know in this room, my name is Johnny Flores. I am a proud resident of Hays County. I am a proud Democrat, and I'm the grandson of an immigrant woman who came here seeking a better life. And I am currently the vice president of the Hays CISD School Board, one of the fastest growing districts in the state, among the largest employers in Hays County, and currently a district with a larger budget than that of even Hays County. And Democrats, I'm going to tell you something you already know, is that for the last several years, public education has been under attack. And not only from our governor, but from our president, and a handful of billionaires that look to privatize education. But I, on the school board, have chosen to fight back. And that's why I was glad to co-sponsor a resolution in February of 2025 that stated clearly that all kids, regardless of their immigration status, are welcome in Hays CISD. And they deserve to be safe, and they deserve a quality education. And now I want to take this fight to the Hays County Commissioner's Court to be your next Hays County Commissioner in Precinct 2. And we face enormous challenges: crumbling roads, the rising cost of living, and concerns about public safety. And I look to take on these challenges with solutions that are not only fiscally responsible, but fiscally efficient. But make no mistake, we live in a unique time in our history where we need local leaders to fight back and lead with democratic values. And that is what I intend to do. Thank you so much.
I'm going to add something to the format here that we haven't done until this group, and I think it's really important. This is for everyone, and this is a yes or no. Please answer by saying yes or no. This race has already become heated. Do you affirm that you will support and not undermine the Democrat who wins your primary, and that you will not support a Republican nominee in the general election? Yes or no? I want to hear a yes or no.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you. Just yell it out. Just yell it out.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. All right. We're going to start here with Ms. Brown for the next question. So Precinct 4 has a number of highly congested and dangerous traffic intersections, such as 967, 1626, and others. How will you, as county commissioner, work to alleviate the massive congestion that occurs at some of these intersections?
Yeah, I experienced that coming over here. Did anybody else coming up 967? And it was really backed up. The traffic congestion here in Buda and in Dripping Springs is significant. Once again, 967, I experience that every morning when I'm going to work. And driving into town, you usually have to wait at the light, at least through 2 lights to get through, to turn right or left. Seems like we should have 2 lanes there in downtown. One to go right, one to go left. That's what I think. Also, I think some of the lane issues on 967 and 1626 could be done in the same way. But regardless of that, we've got some potential bond money coming, or hopefully, to work on roads. And I think what we need to do is to fix the traffic congestion before we start building any more roads to nowhere. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Leonard, same question. Precinct 4 has a number of highly congested and dangerous traffic intersections, such as 967, 1626, and others. How will you, as county commissioner, work to alleviate the massive congestion that occurs at some of these intersections?
God, those 2 minutes go by fast. So we must pursue state and federal funding and other funding tools. There's TERS, there's P3s. We have to, I believe, we have to respect our rural folk and the generations that have been here before us by strengthening these roads. We must also look at the data and make more responsible decisions when it comes to what areas need priority right away. For example, areas that lead to small business. I'm a small business owner. I'm a local realtor in Precinct 4. Schools, we've got narrow roads that need solutions. We need to fix them. Before we crack any more land, we must make sure we pursue data, we act responsibly, and ask the right questions, and involve, that yellow paper, and involve the community. Citizen advisory committees. I want to champion those and make it collective governments, collective solutions. I never want to be the commissioner that speaks for everyone in my community without adding their voices into our decisions.
We're going to stick with Precinct 4 for a little while here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You are Precinct 4?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What policies can the Commissioners Court adopt to ensure that we have sustainable and clean water supply in Hays County, even for residents who are on wells?
Okay, well, actually, I was listening to the agenda of a webinar from the Texas Water Development Board. You know, Proposition 4 gave us $20 billion over 20 years for water infrastructure projects. And the first deadline to be met for the first tranche of money is July of 2026. We need to be working on that. There's a difference with wells. We also need to be working with the state government to get additional authorities for the Hays Trinity Conservation District. They do not have equal authority as Barton Springs Edward Aquifer does. So that's an important part too. And I would also like to see a property tax exemption for rainwater harvesting. We have property tax exemptions for wildlife, agriculture. Let's do it for rainwater harvesting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Unger, same question. What policies can the Commissioners Court adopt to ensure that we have a sustainable and clean water supply in Hays County, including for residents on wells?
So I've been talking about this for years. I've been showing up to Commissioners Court, water-related meetings, and these solutions on how we need to incentivize rainwater harvesting. Our aquifers are stressed out. At this pace, we will run out of water in 10 years. But for wells, I've actually, as a local real estate agent, my experience, I've seen this devastation firsthand. The fear of our rural families that don't know when they open that faucet if there's going to be water behind that. We must protect them. This is why I say rainwater harvesting, educating our next generation of students, putting that in schools, municipal courts, and helping incentivize it so we can put it and prioritize for homes. Also supporting our groundwater districts. You know, we've got our groundwater district that is bleeding out, and we need to support that district. We also need to, apart from that, public education. We must do real public education when it comes to our grasses, when it comes to fragmentation, insects, and many more things. Use funds that have passed so we can get a piece of that pie and put it for water conservation.
I'll give you a chance to have a quick drink, and we'll go to Ms. Brown again.
Okay.
Ms. Brown, Precinct 4 is a large and diverse precinct, including Dripping Springs, West Buda, and even part of Austin. The current Republican Precinct 4 commissioner neglected the new eastern section that we live in now. How can you serve all the geographic areas and their populations equally?
Good question. Because we are responsible for I-35 West, all the way into Dripping Springs, most of Dripping Springs, as a matter of fact. To serve the community well, I think there needs to be open houses, lots of dialogue. I think probably as commissioner, I would do we call it a town hall in Dripping Springs 1 month, do a town hall in Buda the next month. I want to hear from the residents themselves and see what it is their concerns are, because I do want to represent both that rural population as well as the more city urban population. Thanks.
And Ms. Unger, you get the same question. Precinct 4 is a large and diverse precinct, including Dripping Springs, West Buda, even part of Austin. The current Republican Precinct 4 commissioner neglected the new eastern section. How can you serve all the geographic areas and their populations equally?
Yes, so Precinct 4 is huge, and you gotta give it to me for feeling sick and being here. So that's how much everyone matters. So, the question, how can I best serve everyone? Was that it? Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Yeah, the entire precinct, all the population and geographic area.
Okay, how to best serve them? Well, from Henley to Dripping Springs to Buda, everywhere. I've talked about this before. Citizen advisory communities, holding community nights in local restaurants, local business to support that local business. I love to walk in and have all people and constituents from all walks of life supporting local business and hearing their concerns, hearing their voices. I said this before, I'm all about community. I've created parent-led groups. I've created, civic events, voter outreach, and I love to continue doing what I'm doing now as an elected official, serving the community always.
Thank you. We'll hand it to Mr. Escobar. We're going to move on to Precinct 2. So, Mr. Escobar, in the past, while represented by Republicans, Precinct 2 has not gotten its fair share of funding for roads. As a result, many roads in this area are in desperate need of improvement. What are your top priorities for Precinct 2 roads, and how will you ensure that they get built?
I think there's no question that the east side has been ignored for quite some time. I would like all the roads to kind of look like that Daisy Lane, right? That just recently got done. I lived on Gulfport for a couple of years and had to travel that, bottoming out on my car. Suspension repairs, tire repairs, rim repairs. And I think that once the funding gets done, part of what my experience is follow through. And you have to set guidelines, and then you have to attack it. You have to go there. You have to make sure that what is being contracted is actually being done.
Thank you. Mr. Flores, same question. Need me to read it again?
No. As an East Side resident, I understand what families go through every day. And let's be straight. Good roads are a matter of public safety, but they're also a matter of good governance. And there are many things we need to do. First of all, we need to make sure that those roads that were approved by certificates of obligation get done. And I was glad that the Commissioner's Court made that move. But we also have to monitor the courts. In case you are not aware, the 2024 road bond was overturned by a Travis County judge. It is currently in the 13th Court of Appeals. So we need to be ready to go to improve these roads, whether it's Windy Hill, whether it's Hillside Terrace, whether it's 2001. If you have driven down these roads, you know that they need repair. The third thing we need to do is collaborate, not only with TxDOT and municipalities, but with school districts. I, as a trustee, have already voted to approve roads and have worked with not only the county, but developers to make sure that roads near campuses are getting done. And make no mistake, we have a new high school being built in Northeast Buda. And Turnersville Road needs repairs. And this is going to involve a commissioner that has already built relationships to get this done. But we need to understand that building roads is a long process. Through feasibility studies, to schematic designs, all the way to construction. So we need to make sure we're cutting red tape where necessary, but never compromising our environment and building responsibly. And I know I have these relationships to get this done, and that's what I intend to do for residents, not only east of I-35, but all around Hays County.
Just hang on to the mic. You get the next one as well. What policies can the Commissioners Court adopt to ensure that we have sustainable and clean water supply in Hays County, even for residents who are on wells?
Well, let's be clear. We are on code red when it comes to water. And we need to preserve water long-term for future generations. And one of the things that we can do is look to Williamson County, where they have an instructive model and are working with surrounding counties and counties far away to build their water capacity with a 50-year plan. So this can be instructive. In addition, I think I'm the only candidate on this stage that has visited Blue Hole Primary in Wimberley, Texas. They are a campus that has cut water use by 90% by using the one water model. Now, I was glad the Commissioners Court approved a resolution in favor of this, but we need to take it a step further. The third thing we need to do is ensure that we are protecting our aquifers. But this is going to involve collaboration in not only county government, but all residents. And the last thing we need to do is ensure that we are expanding our water capacity long term. And we can do this by collaboration. We can do this by bringing in more water from faraway areas to ensure that future generations have adequate water supply and that we never run short.
And Mr. Escobar, what policies can the Commissioners Court adopt to ensure that we have sustainable and clean water supply in Hays County, including for residents on wells?
There's no question we got to protect our groundwater supply. But I'll tell you a quick anecdote. I had a client that was a granite contractor, and he was able to clean his water and send it back to the city of Austin, and it was drinkable. So why can't we start implementing policies like that? Let's use the purple pipe. Let's use some of the gray water for non-potable situations. There's so many layers of what we can do, and it's going to take a collaboration, and it's going to take education to let the public know that how dire straits we are with our water. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure, hang on to that for the next question. So, Mr. Escobar, increased prices on grocery bills, costs of rent, or to buy a home, insurance, and energy have continued to have us feeling the burden of our national affordability crisis. How can the Commissioners Court help to make life more affordable for Hays County residents?
Well, I think affordability comes with being a good steward of taxpayers' money. We have to be able to control the taxes that we are charging back to our taxpayers, and we have to make sure that the taxes are functioning the way they're supposed to and paying for everything that needs to be paid for. We have to be a good steward of our money. That's going to lead to affordability. We can't really talk about anything else until we control what we're bringing in and how it's going out.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just say, as a working father, I feel the pain of rising costs, whether it's the rising energy costs or the price we see when we are paying for our groceries. But let's be clear. We at the county do not control private sector wages, but we do control public sector wages. That is why, on the Commissioners Court, I will work with my fellow Democrats to raise the minimum wage for county workers to ensure that they are getting paid at least $20 an hour so they can afford to raise a family in Hays County, so they can afford to live in Hays County. We must get this done, and Harris County just did this for their workers. The second thing we need to do is ensure that we are not only being fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars, but fiscally efficient. And on the school board, I have done this because people are not just numbers on a spreadsheet. They are not, they are real people, and this involves values and prioritization. And I will lead with democratic values to ensure that the people that need help can get it. But I want to say this, that the rising cost begins with housing. So we need to make sure that we allow working people to have adequate shelter, and that we are helping with rental and utility systems. This involves partnerships to make sure that no one is falling through the cracks. Because we need to do better for working people in the county, and that's what I intend to do.
Thank you. And do we have a question? Okay.
This is for all four of you, and I'll stay up here to repeat it as many times as I need to because it's a little on the long side. Who's going first? Yes.
We'll just start down here with Mr. Flores.
Okay. Currently, over 60% of the county budget goes towards the criminal legal system, while only 2% goes towards public health. If elected, would you support an increase in funding to services that help meet people's basic needs, and what would be your priorities?
And let's just understand that the rising cost in healthcare begins with there's very little chance that Obamacare subsidies continue. And the U.S. Senate is